Welcome everybody to the Raging Hot Mic podcast. I hope you all are having a good week. Today we'll be discussing about the launch of the bosses and political machinery by the incumbent government, the APC, for the 2027 elections. And I know most Nigerians were shocked when videos made it to social media of the government of APC launching bosses for the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his 2027 election run. Those bosses were commissioned and then were tasked to go and do the job. That's campaign. We are still in 2025. The election is not now, still 2027, 2 years from now. And already we have bosses ready to do campaign. Now, this is a very critical time in our history, critical time in our democracy, critical time in our nation, because we are struggling with so many things, insecurity being one of the most important, struggling with inflation, struggling with poverty. And this launch of these bosses is not a good look. I can tell you that. It's not. I understand politicians, they are there for elections. That is their job. Their job is to win elections. Yeah, I understand. But at the same time, you can't look at that in isolation. You have to also realize that is what really happens during election. They are also voted by the citizens or by the individuals. So it's not like election where they are appointed. No, they are being voted. So perception is extremely important when it comes to election. Perception is as important as anything. So at the period where people are struggling with kidnapping, people are struggling with terrorism, the country is struggling with banditry, you see some certain politicians talking about election. It looks so insensitive. It's extremely insensitive. This is not the time where we should be talking about election. We should be talking about, I'm not saying they shouldn't have that in mind, but you don't say that. You don't rub it on people's faces right now. You don't. It shows that you are prioritizing political gain over investment in public services, investment in critical sectors, investment in the lives of the citizens. It means you are more interested in what you can gain. It means you are more interested in power. It means you are more, because if all these things are true, that means the priority is not the people. The priority is looting. The priority is stealing from the national treasury. Because at this moment in time, politics should be the last thing in our minds. Now I'll run down the stats from you. Also, it shows the disconnect or the insensitive, or you are too deaf to the reality faced by the average Nigerian. If you go out there, conduct the polling, go out there, ask Nigerians, no one will tell you they're thinking about elections right now. No one is thinking about politics right now. The most important thing in the minds of Nigerians is security and inflation, economy. These are the two most important things in their mind. These are the two, if you ask most Nigerians what is their priority, it's insecurity and the economy. These two cannot be separated from each other, because if the country is secured, then the economy can thrive. Economy cannot thrive when there's insecurity, because the production of goods and services happens in a secure economy. If you have kidnapping, if you have adoption, people will stay home. People will be restless. No one will think about producing. You can't even get federal direct investment. No one is going to invest in your country. You have foreign investors not trying to visit you. Then tourism also suffers. So insecurity is not, and it can't be isolated. It involves every critical sector in the country. So when you see politicians launching bosses for elections, that is over 2 years from now, that looks bad. That is extremely bad. That means right now what the whole politicians are doing is concentrating on how to get power, not about solving the problems of the country. Now, if you're asking what are these problems, let me go one by one. Let's go with inflation first of all. Inflation rose from 24% in May 2023 to a high of 34.80% in December 2024. You remember that this government assumed power in 2023. So, since this government assumed power, inflation has risen from 22% to 34% in December 2024. That is a high, like 8% high. It's extremely bad. You go to food inflation, it rose from 41% year on year in June 2024. You know what 41% inflation, food inflation means? That means people can't even access basic needs: milk, fish, meat, beans, grains. These are basic food stuffs. These are basic food every individual consumes, the average individual consumes. That tells you when you're looking at 41% year on year in June 2024, that is extremely high. You look at poverty rates. The World Bank projected that by the end of 2025, by the end of this year, the numbers of Nigerians living in poverty will increase to approximately 139 million. That is projected increase from the 87 million recorded in 2023 before the APC, this present government came to power. It rose from 30. It's going to rise from 39% to 61%. Poverty rose from 39% to 61%. That is over 20% rise. That is high. So the number of people that were projected to be poor by the World Bank has risen from 87 million in 2 years. It has more than doubled. It has almost doubled to 139 million. In a country where you have a population of 250 million and you have 139 million projected to be poor, what is left for the citizens? More than 60% of the country are living poor. What is poor? That means they can't afford basic things. They live below $1. And you see politicians talking about elections. You see politicians not addressing this. They're already talking about the next election. That means maybe by next year they'll be talking about the election after 2027. So, and we all know that poverty, apart from security, uplifting individuals from poverty is the basic. It's not even the major, it's the basic. It's the basic job of any government. You can't claim your reforms are working, your this thing are working, when people are still living under poverty. Then all your economic policies, all your economic reforms are not working. You have to re-engineer them. When you have 139 people living in poverty, there's no economic reform. There's none. I can tell you that. Then you look at insecurity from May 2023, when this present government came to power, to May 2024, that is 1 year, over 4,500 Nigerians were killed and over 7,000 abducted, according to Armed Conflicts Location and Event Data Project. That is over 4,500. What was this number before this present government? It was only 3,000. It was only 2,606. That means it's almost doubled in a year. Before the present government took power, it was 2,606. Now, 1 year after, this is 2024 numbers. I'm not giving you 2025 numbers. It's increased to 4,500. And then when you talk about abduction right year over year from 2023 to 2024 was 7,000. Before they came to power, it was 3,523. So now you are seeing abduction has almost doubled, killings have almost doubled, and you are talking of election. So what policies are we going to vote? Are we going to look at and vote for you? What are the policies that are going to convince us to vote for you? That tells you that maybe elections are not really won. Maybe there are no elections. Maybe there's so much that goes under the table when you see a former INEC chairman being appointed as an ambassador. So is this an appreciation for your job well done? I don't know. You all have to answer that for yourself. But you see politicians who have not delivered on poverty, who have not delivered in inflation, who have not delivered in insecurity, and they're already going for another election. We have to ask ourselves tough questions. We have to be accountable. We have to be transparent. So just like every Nigerian, I condemn that. This is not time for politics. When the opposition criticizes, all they tell you is that it's easier to criticize. Let's all join hands together and make this country better. Let's not just be criticized. We have to join hands together. But right now, we are talking about joining hands together. They're talking about elections. So what do the politicians really want? What does the government in power really want? So why are we not talking about joining hands together now, but we're already talking about elections? We're commissioning buses. We have to do better. We have to really do better. This is not time for politics. Politics should be the least thing on our minds right now. This is really deteriorating and getting worse every day when you hear stuff like that. That should be all from me today, and then join me next time. Smash the like button, subscribe, and drop your comments. Thank you.